So Dave, we're gonna talk Jordan today.
Yeah.
One of your
Well,
faves, right?
it was a great trip, and as somebody said, it's the trip that keeps on giving. Every day something different. Really amazing, and very varied trip.
I went to Jordan with quite a few preconceived ideas of what it was going to be like, and every single one of those ideas were just smashed. I'm not sure about you. I kind of had in my head that it was going to be completely wrongly now, that it was going to be very similar to some other places that I'd been to, that it wouldn't really have its own identity. But my God, I mean, I was so wrong.
Mm.
Um, I mean, we're going to go into the trip bit by bit in detail, like we did on Monday when we were talking about Croatia. But have you got any particular highlights before we start that you think, oh my God, I've just got to say that now?
Yeah, I've got a highlight in it, and it's just this the unexpected. Really, I clearly in my job I do lots and lots of traveling around the world, uh, and just like you, I thought another Arab country. There'll be desert, there'll be hummus, and there'll be their own culture. But that, another Arab country. What really surprised me, and this is Amman, bustling city, was how welcoming everyone was to us as a group of people, and as if you like, European tourists. And in particular, one night we were out walking, and they were looking for a particular place. There's a group of young men, and my experience late at night in any city, let alone an Arab city, but any city, a group of young men, you might not get the reaction you want. But anyway, we were desperate to find this place. So I went up and asked them if they knew. Immediately, one of them attached themselves to us and took us to the place we wanted to go to, talking, chatting all the way. And then just being suspicious, really. And it's just all about me being bad-minded, if you like. I thought, right, now we're going to have this thing about I want money. I brought you over here. You've done this, I've done that. Not one bit of it. He took us to the place. I hope you have a lovely evening. It's been really nice meeting and talking to you. And I love talking English to you. And he went back to his mates. And for me, God, it's this jaded old traveller. It really opened my eyes to why we travel. Part of it. It was a fantastic experience.
Makes you question your own these preconceptions we have about
Yeah.
places and people. And I like to think of myself as quite an open-minded person, and it shocks me so many times how I prejudged things to be the way I thought they would be, and they weren't. So very similar to you, my experiences, I was thinking, oh, solo female traveller,
Yeah.
in an Arab country, it's
Yeah.
I'm going to feel quite nervous, and I wasn't at all. All the male taxi drivers were lovely. They were really interested in what I was doing, where I was going, and they couldn't have been more helpful. When I was in Jordan, I actually had to cut my trip slightly short. I had to get back for one of my kids, and they just all wanted to help. They wanted to just make sure I was okay, and
Yeah.
they really were just lovely people.
Yeah.
Really worth pointing out, the trip that you did was the itinerary pretty much that we're running next year.
Yeah.
It was a trailblazer trip, wasn't it? So you were the
It was.
first group from the bucket list company to go out there,
Yeah.
which we call our trailblazer trips. They are the first group of people to go out to and explore a country. And the idea of the trailblazer trips is that we get good feedback from the customers as to what worked, what didn't work, anything that needs to be changed, adapted, switched around, whatever. So a couple of the things that we're running when we run it this year are off the back of the trip that you ran
Yeah.
last year. Am I right?
Yeah. That's right. And I'm going to say something. I didn't have to make copious notes at all because it ran like clockwork. Apart from one or two things, which I think were unavoidable, it just ran like clockwork. And I mean, again, if you go into Trustpilot and see what people have got to say about it, every day people were just amazed by what was going on and how well we were looked after. There are one or two modifications, but we fed all that back in, and the trip we've got now, it ought to be like a shiny Rolls Royce, really.
It will. It's all the
Yeah,
best.
yeah.
And so when I was in Jordan, I went out on my own with my partner Friday to Monday, and then I met up with our partners out there just to show me the sort of trip things that we could add on and change. So they're the difference in our experiences. So I'm going to lean quite heavily on you today to tell us about how the bucket list trip operates, Dave. So let's start off with day one. Talk me through day one of the trip.
Well, day one, we arrive in Amman, and I'll tell you one really great thing is no one has to worry about visas or anything like that, because we're met by our guides over there who sort out the visas for everybody and the travel permits. So there's a bit of admin as you get to the airport. You have to hang around about half an hour, but you haven't got the sweat of working out what you've got to do or what visa you've got to get for yourself. So that's really useful. We go to a hotel, lovely hotel, and on that day we have a guide comes to meet us, and we have a guided walk around Amman. Now, walking around the city, I'm going to say this is not really my cup of tea, I didn't think. But you walk around Amman, you go to an amphitheatre, you go to some other fantastic preserved ancient monument, and then there's a skyline walk in the evening where you're right on the top on the citadel, looking down over the city, watching the sunset, and it's it's not boring. It's very, very interesting.
I'm exactly the same on city tours. Normally I think, just get me out into the fresh air and countryside. But I think as a man is so different and so interesting. I know you'll probably touch on the guides. You had Osama as your in-country partner, didn't you? And I had Mohammed, and they were outstanding. So they made it really, really interesting. Can I just touch on one thing? It's really important that when guests are going to Jordan, they check the arrival information, because going through that visa part and the arrivals can be quite stressful. I travelled with friends of mine who weren't met by an in-country partner, and they were actually waiting there for about 3 hours because they didn't have the right documentation. There was another couple there, an English couple, who'd packed the wrong things in their suitcase, so were being questioned over why they were taking things like wide-angled long lenses and long distance binoculars into the country. So there are certain things that if you have in your luggage, you'll struggle to get through security. Again, that's all in our detailed paperwork, so just really important people look at that.
Well, I'm going to say we had the same experience. We had to hang around a while things got sorted, but they just got sorted. We didn't have to do it, and then we were through as a group and off, and free, and just no problems at all in the sense of getting visas and all the paperwork right. So we got it. Assam was brilliant for that.
During the chat, guys, if anyone's got any questions, any comments, anything they want to ask Dave or me, please just put it in the chat. It is being monitored, or just unmute and just shout. It is just a lunchtime chat. It's no more official than that. Please do. Okay, Dave, moving on to day two. Now, day two, what did you do? Where did you go?
Day two, we went out to a place called Jerash. Is that right? I should have that there.
Jerash.
Jerash. I'm really going to say this at the beginning right now. I've just talked about amphitheatres and going around the city. I'm going to talk about Roman ruins now. I know I look like a Roman ruin, but I am not that. I am not that kind of guy. I didn't think, but Jerash is just absolutely fascinating. And what made it was Osama, the guy we had, was absolutely so knowledgeable. So you're gonna have to look it up on Google. But Jerash Roman ruins are just incredible. And what we learned about the spice trade and the Silk Road and all those things that you've heard about, how they all intersected as they went through Jordan, amazing. And then we end up going to Ayyun to the castle, and again, a really well preserved castle, which held off the Crusaders, all the Christians who were trying to fight against the Muslims way back. But what's really nice, I'm going to say this now, outside the castle, there is an old chap there, and he's in guidebooks, puts him in the guidebooks. I didn't know that, but he did show us. and he makes the most brilliant Turkish coffee. And it's all done with bits of flaming paper and burning wood and whatever. But I'm not joking. The coffee got me addicted, really.
I'm not a coffee
wanted to try it.
drinker, and I had some, and I was buzzing like my arms were
Yeah,
tingling.
I know.
My
Better
God, I was
drugs, isn't
wired
it?
for about 3 days after that. But yeah, and again, going back to the guides, I don't want to hammer this point too much because I know I talk about it a lot, but it is the beauty of having those in-country partners that work with us at the Bucket List Company. You were telling me about Osama and just about all the stuff he was telling you about, and it gets similar for us with Mohammed. He just they were so proud of their country, and you know, they had a story for everything. And he kept saying to me, you know, I'm going to drive you down here and show you this. And he was just brilliant.
And look, that coffee place, we'd have only gone, it looked really shady, but Osama said, you must come in here. And he took us all in. I sat down next to an old chap and just said hello, whatever. Oh, where are you from? Big conversation about how his auntie lives in England somewhere. Oh, Leicester, I think. And
you must know her. You're like, sure.
Did I know her? You know, it was absolutely great. And I wouldn't have, you know, even though I'm really used to it, I would not have gone in this place and had, you know, this smoky old place with a coffee. But it was great, and a local conversation, and it was lovely. It was lovely.
We're lovely. Should we talk food quickly? Because food was a real highlight for me in Jordan. I'm a bit of a foodie anyway, and I thought I was going to like it. I thought it's of that ilk, you know, like you said. I love that style of dining anyway. We get lots of little bits to start with.
Baba ganoush.
Like you know, in Morocco, you get all the little salads and things. I love that. So I was hoping it was going to be similar, and I wasn't disappointed. Most meals, they brought out lots of different starters, dips, and breads, and all that sort of stuff. But
look, the food. I'm going to jump about a bit now. At Fane and you go to the Eco Lodge, which we'll talk about, but it's all vegetarian there, but it's all grown. Even though you're in the desert, it's grown in patches in the desert and locally, and everything is locally sourced. And the food there is just, I'm not a veggie, but the food was fabulous there, just like you're talking about, or just every kind of vegetable and ways of presenting, and spices, but not hot, but you know, really subtle flavors. That's fantastic. When we went to the Bedouin camp, there's a big hole in the ground with a lid on it. A guy opens the lid up, and you look down inside, and he pulls out a load of food that's been cooking in the sand. You know, the food just goes on and on and on and on. And anybody, no matter what kind of food you like or dislike, you absolutely have a ball with the food in Jordan. It's just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous.
There was 2 firm favourites for me. The first being I think it's one of their national dishes, maklaba, which is so it's a kind of a one pot dish, and they do all sort of chicken and spices and all sorts of stuff at the bottom, and it's layered up with potatoes and carrots and what, sorry?
And rice there. There's rice in it. It's all heaps of
rice
things.
At the bottom. Rice at the I can't remember. It's one way round. And then when it's all cooked, and it's cooked for, you know, an hour, a couple of hours on this one pot, they flip it over onto a big platter. And it's just served in the middle of the table, and everyone just helps themselves to it. You know, chicken and rice, and it's just beautiful, and so very, very simple. It's one of those dishes. I don't know whether you do this, Dave, when you're traveling. I always think I'll definitely do that when I get home.
Sure.
I'll definitely serve that to the children, and they'll adore it, I think. I mean, I haven't, but
no. And if I tipped it out, it'd be on the floor as well.
I know, that'd be it. It'd be like,
the way they do Mum?
It. Absolutely. And the other thing, which I still can't decide whether I like it or not, was kanafa. Did you try kanafa?
No, I didn't.
Now, kanafa is one of their specialities, and it is, now it sounds gross, goat's cheese, and it's in a dessert. So it has like a crumb on the top. And I'm not a goat's cheese lover.
No.
And it's all kind of like built on a stove, all melted, and then they serve it up in slabs.
Yeah.
When Mohammed brought it over, I thought, oh God, this is
I can see your face.
Yeah, I mean, to me, goat's cheese smells like old socks. I know it's a very controversial food. Some people love it, can't stand it. So I thought, I'm going to have to eat this because I'm going to look really rude if I don't. So I had the tiniest little bit. And I was like, oh, actually, this is quite nice. But I just couldn't get my head round actually just having lumps of cheese as a dessert, like with spoonfuls of cheese.
I know.
Well, I'm sure this is fairly calorific, but some people love it, some people hate it. So it's interesting though that you didn't.
But it's not. But none of it is crude, is it? It's all very carefully spiced. I think. Yeah, I mean that's the point. You're not having a chopped up beetroot. It's blended with these other things and a bit of olive oil. It's just absolutely lovely. And the other thing is, I didn't even know it was a thing out there. Did you try the cauliflower cheese that they do? No. We had it in 3 places, different places, and one in Wadi Rum, and everybody was going back and just getting this. It's meant to go with something. We was getting big platefuls of it. It was absolutely gorgeous. I don't know what cheese it was, but cauliflower cheese is a thing in Jordan.
On the list when I'm there next. Dave, let's move on. We're getting carried away with ourselves. So we did Jurash, day 3. Then you transferred to Dana National Reserve. I'm just conscious of time here. We're going to have to quickly click through some of the itinerary. Did the trek in Dana.
In Dana, a couple of things to say about Dana really is you are on the edge of the Arabian Desert, the Araba Desert it's called, but the Arabian Desert. And you walk down a wadi, which is a big valley, and there are a couple of treks out from there. But you walk down from there to Fainan Eco Reserve, and it's just your guy points out to you. That's where a snake has just gone past, and there's a blue fox. Just loads of wildlife around all over the place, and hidden water. So you'll see it looks like a little stream of tiny little trees growing, and it's on sand. And he said, there's water under there. That shows you, and can dig down and you can actually drink. So that's the hike out to the Eco Lodge, keeping it brief.
The following day, hiking from Little Petra through to Petra.
Right. Well, the following day is the Eco Lodge, which we talked about, fabulous food. I've got to mention there a couple of things. So, one, I'll just keep it brief. One thing, after the meal at night, you go up on the roof. Of course, it's cloudless night, loads of stars, and there are mattresses laid out for you, and you just lie down looking at the stars, and somebody with a pointer, a laser pointer, points out all the stars, but not as we know them, like the plough and the rest of it, but as ancient Arabic culture knew them and what they all meant. And what becomes more and more obvious on this trek is what you don't know about the Arabic culture. There's so much to learn. And a certain star would rise in the sky, and they'd know they'd put thorn bushes around their tents at night because the snakes would be coming out of the ground, out of a hibernation. All sorts of things they tell you like that, what different stars meant and also what they signified. So that's an amazing thing. And the next day, we walked to Little Petra. And that's our challenging walk.
So that is the challenging walk. It's about 10k, isn't it, from Little Petra? But it is it's fairly uneven terrain.
A bit rocky, and there's a couple of ledges you have to go around. But we keep people very, very safe. Yeah. And I must admit, a couple of my group were just amazed at what they'd achieved with that, because we go very slowly, very carefully. But they look down into the valley. I'm not going to get down there, but they all do get down. So people get a sense of achievement from that as well.
Let's talk Petra.
Little Petra, quickly. Little Petra.
Mind blown, most amazing place. Honestly, I was just stunned, and I'm not very often speechless. We walked down when you get through that little walkway, and all of a sudden it opens up to the Treasury building. Honestly, I could have stood there for hours. I was like, but how have they done it? And I know everyone around us was having the same conversation. The thing I will say that I found really fascinating was looking down at the dugout bits to think it goes even further down, and there's so much more left to explore. When we did it a bit backwards to you. I know you came in at the top, but we walked and came
Yeah.
back down. Petra is a must do. I mean, it should be on everyone's bucket list. I can't stop raving about it to people. The following day, as we came out of Petra, we looked back in, and you don't know it's there. It is the lost city, and I love that. It's that whole secret thing of it. It's beautiful. So a must do. We then went from Petra out into Wadi Rum. You went to Wadi Gwir, right? Oh no,
well, we went to Wadi Rum and did the Jeep ride around.
Absolutely.
And that's incredible too, isn't it? Because you get shown a rock that's got, I think they're called petroglyphs. It's writing, in other words, written 3,500 years ago when we were living in Watland Dole mud huts, and no one could read or write, basically. And there they were leaving messages. This is Bedouins traveling the desert. They could all read and write, and they had messages saying where to go and find water, what to do in a sandstorm, where to hide the camels. This again, Arabic culture just hits you in the face over and over again how ancient it is and what they knew and what we were subsequently learned, actually. So that was incredible for me. Yeah.
We found it fascinating, just looking at all of the different films that had been filmed there as well.
Yes, yeah.
Did you?
Yes,
sorry,
Lawrence of Arabia. Lawrence of Arabia is when my dad used to go on about Lawrence of Arabia, and of course it's absolutely right down through the through that Wadi Rum. It's incredible, and the 7 Pillars of Wisdom are there as well, which again is the name of a book written by T.H. White.
Beautiful place. And on our trip we get to stay out in the Bedouin tents. There's get incredible food, stargazing, the lot.
And what about the tents then? I walked into my tent.
Not a tent, is it?
It was like a TARDIS.
I had an ensuite big bathroom. I was like, this is not a tent.
Yeah, I had a shower, air conditioning unit, king size bed.
Double bed.
It was like a TARDIS, wasn't it? You couldn't believe it.
I had accent cushions on my bed. I mean, it's not really a camping experience, right? So again, super quick, moving on to the Dead Sea and the Red Sea. Dead Sea experience for me was brilliant. I just thought it was hilarious. It was something I've wanted to do from being a kid, just floating in the sea. I've just always had that on my list. I remember reading about it at school and being like, that's really cool. And it was really, really cool.
Oh, my skin was so soft afterwards. Was yours?
I bought all the products.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm a marketing Jordanian's dream, I am. And then you guys went to the Red Sea. I didn't have that experience.
No. Everyone loved that. We go out on a proper, it's not some old boat, you got on a proper dive boat, and that you're given snorkeling gear, obviously not tanks and things, but snorkeling gear, and you have 2 people with you, all in the water, all together, being looked after, and of course the sea life is just incredible. It's like jumping into an aquarium, really. It's incredible, and there are no big nasty sharks or anything. It's just beautiful, different fish and things to see. People love that as well. Yeah, every day was different. I keep saying that, it's so different.
It is, and that's such a lovely way to finish what has been quite a culturally rich, diverse trip, to be on that boat, to have a bit of downtime, to be able to swim and splash, have some good food. Then you head back, have your last night, and then head off on day 11. So all in all, this is 11 days, I think, 10 days, sorry.
10 days,
where you are out of the country. So again, a really nice trip if you want to have 5 or 6, 7 days annual leave maybe to get away to see another country full of such rich culture. If you had to give one highlight, mine would be Petra.
It's got to be Petra. Got to be Petra. Look, we go to all sorts of places, don't we? The wonders of the world, Machu Picchu, all the rest of it. Every space camp, which is a natural one, man-made. For me, this is the one I said to Keith, look, I must go back because I haven't taken it in enough. I mean, I've been to Machu Picchu twice now, and I've got Machu Picchu really in my head, but this place, I'm not joking, it so pulls you, doesn't it?
I'd almost enjoy it a second time. I think I'd enjoy it even more. Just had a question, where people usually bring their own snorkeling equipment or use the equipment on offer. I'd say use the equipment on offer to save in your luggage space.
It's really good. It's really good equipment. It's not rubbish stuff. It's really good stuff, and it works. I'm a diver as well, and they give you really good stuff, proper masks and not plastic rubbish. It all works.
Any
it's
other
good
questions
stuff.
before we finish? So the office has just put a note in there. There is a promo running this month based on our new Travel with New Friends campaign. It's a £5 booking fee. So if Jordan is on your bucket list and you just want to get it done, just book it. It's £5 to book it, and you can pay it off over the next however many months until our trip this year or until next year. So it makes it really, really achievable. If you've got any more questions, we will answer them. We'll pop this in the Facebook group, and you can just pop some notes in there, and we'll answer them, or email us, letsgo@thebucketlistcompany.co.uk. We're going to run out of time, Dave. Thank you so much. You've been really helpful again today.
Oh, well, I'm looking forward to going back.
I know. Yeah, absolutely. I'll fight you for it. Listen, thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.
And you. Bye-bye, everyone.